Hello.
Hello, hello.
Guess what? It is...
What?
It is our 100th episode.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. We started this... Did we start this during lockdown? Yes,
Yeah.
We started this during lockdown,
Yeah.
where we had been sitting around a lot, obviously, doing lots of things. It's not that we weren't busy. We were definitely busy, as everyone was in lockdown with other things too. But a podcast had been something we had been wanting to start for a while. We had some people like really encouraging us to do that as well. And we just kept being like,
Well, it wasn't like, It was more like,
how are we
we
gonna fit
just
that in?
don't have time for that at the moment. And every time we felt like we had a space, something else would happen that we just couldn't fit it in. And so...
Yeah. And so... But it was like always there, if that makes any sense. And so we thought that we would talk about today, with it being our 100th episode, of just doing something because you enjoy it and you want to do it. Whether this is for a business or your personal life and those kinds of things, it doesn't always have to have like a goal, an end goal, which is so hard for me to say as an Enneagram 3. And so I think that's why we just never started the podcast and we put it off for a long time, is because we kept thinking like... how are we going to make money off of it? How are we going to do this?
Yeah.
What is this? Like, and it's not to say we don't have a purpose behind it, because we're very purposeful people and like do think through those things a little bit. But kind of the purpose for this podcast for us was just to have a creative outlet to, frankly, to a lot of the questions that we get on social media and stuff a lot of the time. Are about the things that we're talking about. And so it's an easy way to send somebody a link and be like, hey, actually, we talked about that on our podcast. You can listen to it here. And
I think it's always fun to just share the things that we're learning as we go through parenthood, owning businesses, doing life in a new country. It's fun to share that with you guys. So, yeah.
And our kids have had fun when they've been on the episodes too. They've had a lot of fun with things as well. And they often be like, when do I get to be on the podcast next? And that kind of thing.
Some of them are.
Yeah, some are a bit more shy. Some, it has to be the topic they want to talk about.
Yeah, that's true.
Or they're coming up with ideas all the time. So yeah, I think it's about finding something that fills you up and doing that. And our podcast currently, now does that mean in the future that like we won't, I don't know, like try to have it be something that brings some income in for us or those kinds of things? Sure, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But currently it is a bit of a creative outlet for us. It is it does like tack on to some business stuff that we do. It does tack on to some other stuff that we do. It's inspiring us to do more things. Like I think I've talked about this before. Like I used to blog a lot, and then I just haven't been. And that means like when I say blogging, like writing and that kind of thing. And it's something that I'm starting to get back into. And I think that like the podcast and blogging can kind of go like side by side, and we can do some things in that. And that's in the works for this year of doing that. But yeah, it's about just doing something that for whatever reason, you don't know why, you maybe like have something right now that you're like, ooh, I'd really like to do XYZ. But you're like, I don't want to do it because I don't like have an end goal with it or that kind of thing. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. I think you've probably found that in like creativity too sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me too, I was just going to share like with the podcast, there was a little bit of a fear actually for me to step into it. I knew I wanted to be a part of it with Maya, and like I wanted to do it as us together and share it together. But I'm not somebody that enjoys sharing my thoughts verbally, and a lot of times that's why I draw a lot and things like that.
You're more
and so
introverted.
I'm a little bit more introverted.
I'm introverted too, just not as much as
but not public speaking, but like I don't know, like
you hate public speaking.
Sharing, yeah. It's not a big thing. It's a little bit more of a fear for me and things like that. And so for me, actually, the podcast was something I was looking forward to help kind of, I don't know, break that cycle a little bit, because I know that that's not something I have things to share. I have thoughts and things and experiences and things that that I want to talk about and things like that. And so part of the podcast, at least for me, was to get over some of that, like things that maybe I was telling myself that actually aren't true. And so so I was really, I can't believe we've been doing this for 100 episodes. Like that's just crazy to think. but yeah, it's more of now it's an enjoyment thing. Like we love getting everything set up and thinking about what we want to talk about and all that kind of stuff. And it's just been fun. And there's our cuckoo clock.
If you can hear it.
If you can hear it. But yeah, I think it's always been something that we've always wanted to do and talk about and enter into this space just for fun. And I think we've done a decent job of keeping it in that sense.
Yeah, we've not been like uber serious with
it.
And I listen to so many podcasts. It's a joke in our family. Yeah. It's a joke with friends that I often say, I was listening to a podcast and then blank.
That's a joke.
Everyone knows that I love podcasts. It's something that I listen to. And so it is hard for me as somebody that is like an achiever and that kind of thing to sometimes realize that like we're doing this as a fun project right now, and it doesn't have to be, because there are a lot of podcasts that I listen to that have millions and millions of listeners, and that's all they do, and they're making money off of that, and that is their business and that kind of thing. And so it is hard for me sometimes to listen to those and then realize like, that's not currently where we're at in the space. It doesn't mean we won't get there or that kind of thing, but that's not where we're at currently. But then I think, why do I listen to those podcasts? Well, usually it's because I enjoy it. They're answering questions that I have. You know, they're telling me about what's going on in the world, those kinds of things, or it's interesting, like something like living in a different place or that kind of thing. And I know we have a very broad, what's the right word? Like broad focus, if you will. We're not just focusing on UK, US living. We're not just focused on business. We're doing a little something for a lot of different people, because that's the kind of questions we get a lot. And so we wanted to be able to provide something that kind of, I don't know.
Touches on a few things.
Yeah, that touches on a few things, as well as like our interest levels. Like, not that I can't say that maybe our podcast one day will be more focused on one thing or another. It may be. And then the reason why we decided to switch not switch, we're still doing voice podcasts, but to do YouTube as well, is because you guys asked for it. You asked for it, and it was something that our kids were like, I wish you guys would do a YouTube channel, and we could involve Zane in it, and he did the music and the setup for it and all this stuff. And so that is another reason that like we kind of added we didn't really add that much.
No.
It's just we have to video it now.
Yeah.
And then put it up there. So, yeah. But I think our reflection is of like in 100 episodes into it, and we've come up with like a streamlined process and that kind of thing with it too, is just that it's we enjoy it, and it's okay to have things that you enjoy that don't have a massive angle. I don't know what it could be. I mean, I know some things have a natural angle. If you crochet, there's a thing that you have and it's been created at the end. So I guess there's some kind of end goal.
I mean, our end goal is we have an episode every week.
True.
Right?
Exactly.
So.
Yes. Like that's exactly right. So I think it's, like often when our kids are creating things and stuff like that, sure, sometimes Zane's just playing around with sounds and that kind of thing in his music stuff, and he doesn't have an end goal of a song with it, but he's learning like the techniques of these different sounds or doing some research on what's available or that kind of stuff. Jude may often... He just draws all the time, frankly. He draws all the time. And sometimes his end goals, he has something he wants to do with it. Like it's for a story he's also writing or something like that. And then other times it's just to do it because he enjoys it. And so I think that's, I feel like a lot of our podcasts that have been about creativity or business and some of the other things, that we do direct you towards having purpose and an end goal and stuff like that. But sometimes the purpose can just be because you like it, it gives you life. And it doesn't have to have all these other broader reaching things. Now, we do hope that for the podcast. Like, it's not saying that. But because it's been really fun to see, like, where people listen from and stuff has been crazy to us. I don't understand where some of you and how you're finding us, but hello.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, goodness, I don't remember how many countries we have people
listening. It's very humbling, actually, to be honest.
It is.
Just to see where you guys are listening from all over the world. It's just really, really cool.
And you can sometimes tell when someone has shared a podcast because it'll be like in a certain area, and because we can see this information, like and they'll share it and that kind of thing. And all of a sudden there's lots of people listening in that area. So thank you for sharing our podcast too, because our hope in it, and our hope in, even though doing something that it isn't just for us actually, like it is because we are coming up with things and talking about things that either we wish we had known before in our business, before in parenting, or that kind of stuff. Or we think is fun, like the whole UK and US stuff. Most of those aren't like very serious episodes. Or things like, one of our recent ones on why we don't celebrate Valentine's Day. So many people, of our friends in particular, have asked us that question that we were like, right, let's just do a podcast. But it's been so interesting to hear from so many of you of like, oh, we don't celebrate either, and like, why, or those kinds of things, or we do celebrate and this is why. And so it's just fun to have those conversations as well. And so we do hope that the podcast is actually helpful to people, and that you share it when you think it would be helpful to somebody that they may need whatever we're sharing. Not that we're experts in any of it.
No.
But we've had a lot of experience in different things, and that is where
I think that's like one of the bigger things is like we've tried a lot of things and we've probably failed at a lot of things.
Probably we have failed it.
And I think it's just fun to talk about that stuff. So my hope, at least with the podcast, is that we're always inspiring you guys to step into things that maybe, either that you want to step into because you enjoy it, or that you're thinking about it becoming a business, or that you've always had an urge to move somewhere else and do something different or whatever. Like, I hope that this podcast is something that you can look at and be inspired by some of our experiences in some ways to maybe live out those things that you are hoping for in your life. And so I don't know, that's what I hope. That's what I hope that this podcast can do, is just to inspire you guys to really, just to act upon some of the things that maybe you've always thought about. Whether, again, if it's for something fun or something big like a business or something in your family or whatever, hopefully our experiences can say, oh yeah, we are never doing that, or
learn from us on some of those things.
Or yes, let's give that a go. The Lorentz are doing it, so I don't know. It's just fun to get to share this stuff with you guys.
Yeah, so this is a very short podcast for us, I know, but we just wanted to say thank you again. It's been very fun for doing this for 100 episodes. More to come for sure.
Yes, definitely.
The way we come up with the topics, like I said, is because we get them from you guys. Like, I only think there's been a handful of times that we've been like, oh, we should talk about this, and it has not come from someone else. And so do let us know. Do reach out in whichever way, whether it's through our website or it's through @Laurent Collective on Instagram. I mean, literally just put
comment on YouTube, whatever.
Yeah, put in Laurent Collective and you'll find us in all the different places and that kind of thing. But we love to do this because it is then often that one of you has, or several of you have asked the question and have been curious. And so thanks for allowing us to have this fun with you. Thanks for allowing us to do this for this many episodes, and that you're tuning in and you're sharing with others. And for wherever you are listening in the world, because that's something we have found out.
It's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
it's an encouragement to us to keep putting stuff out in the world, because even if it's just one person that hears it and that's helpful for you, then that is what it was meant for. So more to come, and we'd love to hear your feedback too. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.